how we actually get you more money. To lie to you and tell you, we're going to tax these rich people. We already tax so much in LA, in California. I can't even comprehend taxing more. What's happening is we tax these people, and then other rich people, with champagne socialists, scammers, steal that money because they're all connected to the people taxing it. And then the people that should see the money, the communities, the Boys and Girls Club, the parks, the actual infrastructure doesn't see that money because different rich people stole the money that was being taxed from the rich people.
Okay, this is not like something you have to really figure out. Elect more communists. Yeah. That's a communist. Now, if Barack Obama or any reasonable Democrat had anybody on their staff who had that on their resume, it'd be like a huge scandal. But this guy, this is just where we are. Like communism, I said it. It's a political philosophy. It's an economic philosophy. You're allowed to believe it. You're allowed to vote for it. Mm-hmm. Let's just not pretend that that's not what this is.
Bill Maher has zero patience for what Zohran Mamdani is pulling in New York, and he made that crystal clear when he unloaded on him with both barrels. Maher believes radicals like Mamdani have absolutely no business anywhere near the Democratic Party, arguing that his ideology is dangerously out of step. The takedown was brutal, surgical, and scorching. So, slam that subscribe button because things are.
The issue now that Andrew Cuomo is bringing up in New York is that he is a Ugandan citizen. Uganda is a country where they homosexuals.
So somebody who is a dual citizen can't be mayor of New York, or
I would renounce, if I was the dual citizen of a country whose policy, government policy, was we homosexuals, yeah, I would renounce that citizenship. I don't, and he also.
I think that is buying into a fear. I think that is buying into a fear framework that is not good. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the country.
You shouldn't be afraid of that.
Maher goes straight for the jugular, exposing a glaring contradiction at the heart of Mamdani's carefully crafted public image. Here is a man who presents himself as a champion of LGBTQ rights and runs under the Democratic banner. Yet critics have questioned his reported citizenship ties to a country where homosexuality is criminalized. That isn't nuance, that is breathtaking hypocrisy. If your liberal convictions are genuine and not merely a political costume, renouncing that citizenship isn't radical, it's the bare minimum. It's a matter of basic principle. But Mamdani hasn't done it. He keeps that passport tucked away, undisturbed, and that silence speaks volumes. Maher's point cuts deep precisely because it's so simple. You cannot campaign on tolerance while maintaining ties to intolerance, which raises an uncomfortable question. Does Mamdani actually believe a single word he preaches?
To a degree that I would say is very close to communism. I'm talking about Mamdani. I'm talking about, I think, the mayor in Seattle maybe now.
One of my opponents.
And one of your opponents.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, communism is a form of government. You're allowed to back it. You're allowed to be it. You're allowed to vote for it. Let's just not pretend that, one, we haven't tried it a lot around the world and it's a disaster. And two, that if you are, for like seizing personal property and certain other things that Mamdani or his very close lieutenants have said outright, home ownership is racist. If you are believing these radical things, yes, you are communist.
Mamdani proudly waves the Democratic Socialist banner, but Maher isn't buying the label, not even slightly. According to Maher, what Mamdani represents is not the Scandinavian-style socialism that American progressives often romanticize, but a more radical ideology that he believes voters should take seriously. And here's where Maher makes a critical distinction. He isn't attacking Mamdani for having unconventional political beliefs. That's not the argument. The argument is that these systems simply do not work. History has delivered that verdict repeatedly, brutally, and without ambiguity. But between socialism and communism, Maher reserves his sharpest alarm for the latter, which he believes is Mamdani's true ideological home, not the friendly, approachable socialism of college campus discussions, but communist-style politics dressed in progressive language. Maher's warning is pointed and deliberate. A wolf doesn't become less dangerous simply because it shows up wearing a particularly convincing disguise. The ideology remains what it is.
Socialism has captivated people because everyone has, this is my thought.
Sure.
I feel like people are all hyped on socialism because they're like, everything's so expensive, America's failed, give me money. But what they're forgetting is all the people that these socialists are saying they're taking the money and giving, they're going to leave. And then they're not going to have any money to take from these people to give to you. I keep telling people the way we get you money is stopping the socialism, letting the successful rich people build businesses, build restaurants, put money into your pocket because there's more jobs, there's more opportunity.
Maher's guest, Spencer Pratt, landed what might be the most devastatingly simple argument of the entire conversation, and it stopped everything cold. Mamdani and his ideological allies have built their entire political brand around one seductive battle cry: tax the rich, redistribute the wealth, close the gap. It sounds righteous. It sounds revolutionary. But here's the catastrophic flaw they conveniently ignore: the rich aren't trees. They don't have roots. They have private jets, offshore accounts, and armies of financial advisors whose entire purpose is protecting generational wealth. Push them hard enough, and they simply leave. They relocate. And when that happens, when that tax base evaporates overnight, who funds the government's grand socialist ambitions? The answer is painfully predictable. The middle class gets crushed under the weight of an ideology that promised them salvation. Pratt's point was razor sharp.
That's how we actually get you more money. To lie to you and tell you, we're going to tax these rich people. We already tax so much in LA, in California, I can't even comprehend taxing more. What's happening is we tax these people, and then other rich people, the champagne socialists, scammers, steal that money because they're all connected to the people taxing it. And then the people that should see the money, the communities, the Boys and Girls Club, the parks, the actual infrastructure doesn't see that money because different rich.
Spencer Pratt peels back another layer of this elaborate ideological con, and what's underneath is as infuriating as it is unsurprising. The taxes already being collected, the money already flowing into government coffers, aren't reaching the communities that need it most. It isn't trickling down to struggling neighborhoods, crumbling schools, or desperate families. So where is it going? Pratt points the finger directly at the very architects of this redistributive fantasy, the wealthy socialist class itself. The same polished politicians standing on podiums demanding the rich pay their fair share are still operating inside the very system they criticize. They are not outside the machine demanding change, they are part of it. Critics argue this creates a cycle of performative outrage, where bold promises are made to struggling voters while the system itself remains largely unchanged. Mamdani and his allies aren't dismantling the corrupt system, they're simply auditioning to sit at its most profitable table.
And I'm sure, Mamdani is watching this right now, as he always does, I'm sure, and saying, exactly, Bill, that's my point. Capitalism terrible. Yeah, it's terrible, except it's still better than the reverse.
Yeah.
Well, you want to really be... Soviet people died at 38 from being drunk all the time because they couldn't take their life under communism.
My girlfriend is Polish. She was born under communism. She lived under it for a little while, and she shakes her head. She's like, they don't know what they're asking for. They don't know what they're talking about.
And it would be so easy to find out. It wasn't like it happened 1,000 years ago.
Exactly.
It happened in our lifetimes.
She would explain to me the grocery card they got. She got a grocery card. Her family got a grocery card, and they would.
This is Poland.
Yeah.
Warsaw.
Yeah. And you were allowed. Your family of 4. You get X amount of milk.
Here's the brutal, uncomfortable truth: people like Mamdani, who champion communism with such passionate conviction, have likely never genuinely reckoned with its catastrophic historical track record, and that ignorance isn't innocent. It's willful because the evidence isn't hidden. It isn't classified or buried in obscure academic journals. The historical record of failed communist experiments stretches across continents, including the Soviet Union's collapse, China's Cultural Revolution, Cuba's long economic struggles, and Venezuela's collapse. Every chapter ends the same way, but ideologues like Mamdani would rather craft compelling campaign slogans than crack open a history book. Now, capitalism isn't without its profound sins: inequality, exploitation, and the yawning gap between the powerful and the powerless. Nobody reasonable is pretending otherwise. But the moment you compare capitalism's failures with the human cost of communist regimes.
Per week, you get X amount of eggs per week. You get X, and then you take that car to the store, which sometimes didn't have any of the stuff on your car. Sometimes they just had we're long on toilet paper today.
Oh yeah.
So take some toilet paper. But if you come back tomorrow, maybe we'll have what's on your list.
It doesn't work. Humans need to be incentivized by selfishness. It is nature to be selfish. Animals are selfish.
Yeah.
Watch them.
Yeah. I heard a song the other day, and it was, of course, all things are exaggerated, but it was basically capitalism isn't bad because you like.
Here's something that no amount of ideological wishful thinking can legislate away: human beings are fundamentally and irreversibly self-interested. And before anyone recoils at that statement, understand this: selfishness isn't civilization's villain, it's actually its engine. The drive to protect yourself, provide for your family, outwork your competition, and build something that belongs to you, that primal instinct is precisely what has pushed humanity forward through every era of progress. Communism's fatal miscalculation is believing that the right political system can simply reprogram this deeply embedded human wiring. It cannot. It never has. Because when you strip away personal incentive, when effort and laziness receive identical rewards, something dies inside the human spirit. Why grind? Why innovate? Why sacrifice? Equal distribution of resources sounds beautifully fair in theory, but in brutal practice, it manufactures mediocrity on an industrial scale. You cannot build an exceptional society by systematically dismantling every reason a person has to be exceptional.